tonight. I can get a whole day out of this. If it gets to be like 80 degrees out here, which it won't.
It won't.
Yeah, no, it won't. I'll have problems. But I've watered, or I've marveled on water that was almost dark brown because it was so contaminated, and it still works. Not as well, but it works. So this pattern is mostly Prussian blue. Nice big drops. That. Okay, now I'm going to stretch those out with a fairly thick needle diagonally. Back against each other. And I'm going fairly deep in the tray, and that creates more current, which can be risky because it might keep moving after I did it. I want it to kind of stop. Slow down at the end. Now the hard part. I'm going to lay the paper down at an angle that matches the angle of the drawn part, if I can, and I'm going to gently move it. I'm going to have to take this piece off. So you can see that Prussian blue in those flowers.
Oh, yeah.
You can imagine what it's going to be like in there.
Mm-hmm.
Bring this up. And I'll pick this up. Now those diagonals, light and dark, are the result of shaking it. That's called Spanishing. And that's a drawn Spanish. There's a lot of blue, so I'm going to have to rinse it. I put more blue on there than the paper could hold. So you would see this on books in the very early 1900s. You'll see it on the big books, the really big books. See, I'm hitting this with a lot of water because I put too much paint. I'll admit I got pretty around. So that really has a lot of movement. They almost match. A little bit more at an angle, but that's not bad. That's good enough.
Oh, yeah.
So we get one print with all that paint I threw on there, one print. And the glory of Prussian blue, just incredibly strong.
It just jumps out.
Yeah, Prussian blue is
Especially with the yellow.
yeah, well that's so important. But this Prussian blue is very strong because it's so small and it's able to be closer together, which makes it more dense and more color.
Mm-hmm.
This is invented, it's a synthetic color. It's invented in Berlin about 1704. So we have examples of this from then on. Now before that, they would have probably have had, well, there's several different blues. This is an indigo blue here, okay? And this is a organic blue. It's made from a plant, so it's alive, right? So organic. It doesn't work in marbling unless you convert it to an inorganic.
Huh.
So you attach the color to something that is inorganic, like alum. So we attach the color matter to alum. And alum, well, we pickle with it. We use it as a blood, stop bleeding, and different things like that. And that then becomes something that will stick to paper and permanently stay. Okay, so this can become a pigment for marbling with a little bit of chemistry. Takes a little bit of work. And they were doing that. They talk about all the different pigments that were available in the 19th century. They were doing a lot with like wood tannins and things like that. They would get a color out of a red wood and then make a pigment with sticking that tea. It's like tea.
Oh, yeah.
You know, for example, my teacup. If I were to take this tea, which is very small particles of color, I could throw some alum in there and make pigment, the color of that tea. And I've done it. I've done it with goldenrod plants before and a few other
Yeah,
things.
goldenrod's a good one. Walnut hulls.
Walnut. I've tried walnut too, and I've never used it, but I've made the pigment, but I never ground it down and tried it. I just need to do that sometime.
Well, I gotta use it in dyeing clothing and everything.
Yeah.
Well, you pick up walnuts and look what happens to your hands.
Oh, yes, yes. So we'll do,
Pokeberry, that's another one.
that's true. That's right. See all that blue left over?
Yep.
That shows you how much extra blue that the paper didn't pick up. It's just, it can't. It can only pick up so much,
Right.
but that's okay. We can live with it. Okay, we're gonna do a French curl.
Well, anything less, it wouldn't have come out as bold.
That's right. Yellow ochre, the little contaminated blue in there, and a little bit of red iron oxide. Trying to get the droplets to be fairly evenly distributed over the surface. Now the last color, Prussian blue, which might be a little strong for this pattern, but I don't want to dilute it because it'll dilute it for all the others, so we'll try to manage that. The yellow I'm using is not my brightest yellow. I think if I put my bright yellow in there, it'd probably match the strong blue a little bit more. Okay. Yellow in. Break that up a bit. And let's cross our fingers if no wind comes through, because that'll really mess up this pattern. And now we're going to take...
You shouldn't say that stuff.
I know. Hey, hey. quickly find some paper.
Bon appetit.
And it's right on top. Something fell in there. I saw a big hole. So we'll see. We'll dig that out and see what it is. I think it was a leaf, a tiny leaf or something. This out of there. Classic French curl. See the hole in that lower corner?
Yeah.
Ah, it happens.
Oh yeah. Looks like a face.
Yeah. Careful what you see in there.
Yeah, I can see the face of it. Yeah, it looks, it looks good.
Give that a good squirt. Clean it up. Yeah, I think that glue is a little dense. I'm gonna have to add some water to it. I made the glue extra strong in case I needed it strong, and I've been diluting them a bit. But I could say that I'm happy with the intensity of everybody together. I mean, that's a strong yellow, strong red, strong blue.
Oh yeah.
So that's what you want. You want it as strong as possible. Unless you're reproducing an old pattern that says don't do that, right? I mean, you could do what you want, but if you're reproducing something, you do have to tune things together to make them go together well. So that's a French curl with a little heavy in the blue, a little large, a little too large, I think, but that's okay.
Nice.
One at a time. In Vincennes, there's a cathedral there that has a basement full of books with that pattern on it.
Hmm. We'll be in Vincennes in a couple of weeks.
That's right. And I've been in the basement. I checked them out, and sure enough,
Nice.
they're about that same spacing. They're all from about 1800 on. Nothing before then, it seemed.
So will you be in Vincennes?
No, I wish I could, but I just can't get out there. Too expensive gas for me. So.
What's the pattern of the blue?
This is a 20th century pattern called a drawn Spanish, and it was found on large books because it's a big pattern. It looks better
Nice.
when I have a bigger sheet.
You do Lewis and Clark also, don't you? Lewis and Clark.
I will be there this year.
Okay, good. Yeah, because we'll be there too.
Good.
Before we-
Yes.
Nice, very nice.
Thank you.
Look at these, John.
You're probably trying to clear all.
Girl.
Yeah.
In the marbling, are you?
So I'm putting down a little bit of green, and I'm going to put down. It's going to be a very earthy, nice earthy pattern.
Coming up.
Um,
And I was supposed to have been staying up there, and I got this cold again. Yeah. So I didn't stay. I just day shipped.
green. I'm going to do a lighter yellow, or a yellow and lighter red, I should say. No blue in this. I don't have my orange out. I need an orange. I think I'll grab an orange and pop it in here in a minute. That always is good. It's between the yellow and the red. It's a good transition between the two.
Oh yeah, right at the time.
It's beautiful to see. And I think that's about it. Maybe I'll pop some strong red, and that'll be it. I have two reds today. I have a pinkish red that's an ochre, it's French earth, and then the strong rust, iron oxide. That's good.
He just put a French curl.
Okay, I'm going to stretch it.
He said something fell in it, which you can see the white spot. I mean, back
What?
here in the back, it kind of looks like a bird.
Stretch it again.
I get his plan. Yeah, Sean
What?
come up. The girl I'm seeing, she's got some kids, and it's like one's 17 years
Small.
old. She just really enjoyed it.
And this one I'm going to really rake
just
it
basically had
that way.
a single class with her in my kitchen,
Yeah.
and boy, she just loved it.
I did it for a prop for a show a number of years ago, and it wasn't like this caliber, but I mean it turned out okay.
We were talking about that. I went out and bought him a bunch of pot scrubbers. I bought like 15 pot scrubbers. And he goes, the best things are now, Dad, is brooms.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at his stuff.
Around a little
I
bit.
can see where he's getting that from, because I can just tap it barely. And I was like,
Oh yeah, you can see it starting to move.
I want it to be broken up and a little messed up, a little damaged.
You can get nose type
And then
things
we're going
from
to
the like any shaker village that
good point. So, I know, I was starting to learn a lot of things. I thought it was supposed to be really nasty today.
it's coming.
Is it?
really. Seems nice now.
Well, it was cold yesterday, man. I was cutting grass. I had 2 yards to cut yesterday, and I was in sweats and still freezing.
We're supposed to have hail and thunderstorms this afternoon.
Well, you don't need to say that too loud. You know.
Sorry.
Don't encourage us. I'm just day tripping. I can't stay out here. I got tomorrow. I got to go to the. Have to go to the Redbud School tomorrow. We are the 250th. We allowed the school art class to have a competition to see for a logo camp.
That's not something I expected.
Yeah. I didn't know you doused them that much, but.
Well, I have to, if you're using a more modern type of marbling, with acrylics or something, it washes off the acrylics. You gotta be really careful.
Okay.
But some days it does wash it off. Some days my yellow just gone. So you never know. But yeah, I've been, I raked that like what, 6 times, back and forth. So whenever you rake it, it tends to contaminate the paint a little bit. It mixes it actually with starch, and the starch gets around the color and it won't let it stick to paper. It's like an insulated wire. It won't conduct. It won't stick. So you always run the risk of that, and I did on that one. In fact, it's not fuzzy. Actually, it worked. The green's a little fuzzy, but that's pretty sharp. Those lines are pretty sharp, which is good because it's not really. The weather's good for marbling today. I can't take credit for that. It's the weather. So you don't want to. Actually, before a storm's the best time. It's the atmosphere is charged, and you'll talk to ladies that do spinning and dyeing, and they say red sticks best before a storm. And if it's cold before a storm, it's even better. So today's okay. I'm happy.
How long you been doing marbling?
Oh, 21 years.
Really?
Just long enough to start to understand it. Now I'm starting to learn something.
Yeah.